Where do you actually get more experience in Season 13, in Diablo IV, Kurast, Undercity, or in Helltide? And how are we even counting it? Are we optimizing a route between Hellwyrm spawn points or just playing normally? In Kurast, are we going back for the experience orbs or not? And how does all of this affect the final result? So what? You want actual numbers instead of vague, more or less statements. New off is here, and I will give them to you. For impatient people, here is the answer immediately. In Helltide, you can get 1.1 billion experience per hour. Now for everyone else, let us get into the details. First, let us go through the war plan and bonuses for the first activity, Helltide. My points are distributed like this. I will not go into detail here because everything is already explained in a separate video. My first Helltide session was played without any plan or strategy. I was just running around and killing mobs. I stayed there continuously for 37 minutes and got 319 million experience and 64 million gold during that time. That is just as a side note. The gold was without any tricks or gold farming setups, which I already covered in a separate video. I was simply playing Helltide normally. Killing mobs, opening chests. I had so much cinder that during those 37 minutes I opened chests in all 3 active map regions. I summoned the maiden a couple of times, joined other players killing the maiden a couple of times. Varshan appeared a few times, and the Hellwyrm spawned several times as well. So 318 million experience in 37 minutes equals 517 million experience per hour. And gold was 103 million per hour. Now let us measure it with an important detail included. Yesterday the Helltides.com community released an update. It allows you to see the most common Hellwyrm spawn locations. Keep in mind that the spawn can vary by about 1 screen in any direction from the mark point, but the map still helps tremendously. Here is how it works. We create a circular route between several points with the highest Hellwyrm spawn probability. Keep in mind that the highest chance of spawning happens when our threat level is 2 or higher. So we move like this. While the threat level is below 2, we can leave the route to clear large mob groups visible on the minimap. As soon as the threat level reaches 2 or higher, we move directly from marker to marker. At every marker, we make a small circle around the area and move to the next one. Also keep in mind that now in Helltide, the Soulspires spawn enemy waves and should not be ignored. By activating one, you can easily increase your threat level. Just do not leave the circle, otherwise the event ends. So, on the very first test attempt, with 0 preparation, I literally opened the map on my second monitor, made a rough route on the spot and started farming. The only downside was that there were not many chests in this limited area, but the result was 480 million experience in 28 minutes. That equals 964 million experience per hour. And interestingly enough, I ran it without the extra 15% experience bonus from the experience well, even though getting it is easy. I was just too lazy. How to get the wells easily along with other useful things is covered in the war plan video. And yes, by the way, gold income was 85 million per hour. So in terms of experience, you can count it as 1.1 billion per hour with the experience well bonus included. So what, surprised? No. Everyone already knows that Helltide is the most profitable way to farm experience. But nobody tells you how much better it actually is compared to something like Kurast. Nobody says it because nobody knows, and nobody knows because nobody measures it. I do. The first videos about experience and gold came out before there was a clear understanding of how the war plan worked and before we had enough levels to fully unlock all its nodes. Now we do, so the data is more accurate. Now let us go through Kurast and hopefully the numbers will surprise you. My war plan there is leveled like this. Here we can run any tribute without caring about rarity. The thing is, in terms of experience and gold per hour, the rarity of the tribute does not matter. We enter the rift and enjoy the infinite teleport. If you missed it, watch the previous video about how people keep misleading players about infinite teleport, even those who perfectly understand what a real infinite teleport actually is. Watch it, you will not regret it. The important thing here is speed, and speed is not a problem because every beacon gives us 12 seconds of effectively 0 cooldown teleporting. That is enough to reach the next beacon with time to spare. On top of that, every beacon bonus increases our all skill cooldown reduction to the 75% cap. But we are measuring experience here. And for that, it is important not to miss the 4 experience orbs that appear after every progress stage. I constantly miss them, guaranteed 1 orb drop and sometimes even 2, because I rush too much. Yes, I play using the minimap, their pickup radius is tiny, and the orb rendering animation has a delay. Everything is designed to artificially slow the player down. So here I am running while missing 1 or even 2 orb drops. I am not counting by dungeon runs. I simply took screenshots of the data and the time exactly like I did in Helltide and started running. After clearing several dungeons and ending up back in town again, I recorded the results. Exactly 10 minutes had passed. I got 112 million experience in 10 minutes, which equals around 660 million experience per hour. Again, this is without any bonus experience. And that is more than random route Helltide farming. There it was 517 million per hour. Here it is 660 million. If someone tells you that Helltide gives more experience without specifying the gameplay method, they are just repeating a mantra they heard somewhere else. Here are the numbers. I will normalize them by adding the 15% experience well bonus to all of them so the numbers match the title. Helltide played normally 594 million per hour. Helltide using Hellwyrm routes 1.1 billion per hour. Kurast 760 million per hour. Yes, gold in Kurast is 30 million per hour. So if somebody says something without showing actual numbers, send them to this video. Now let me briefly talk about the latest patch. Maybe some of you believe the scale of the disaster has been reduced. I do not. If we believe the patch notes, then supposedly these absurd numbers were fixed. And yes, the numbers did look insane, but this is not the first time. Something like this happens almost every season. Blizzard also told us that the issue with Sorcerer Ball Lightning not counting as a core skill was fixed. Sorry, maybe I am stupid, but I do not see any issue there. Sorcerer clears Pit 150 just fine even with that so-called bug. All people really did was replace a unique amulet with a legendary one. Well, some people did, and somehow they managed to get one with stats like these and 3 aspects on it. Yeah. It looks like some people literally live inside the game and have a hidden plus 100 luck bonus. But realistically, there are only 2 explanations. One person plays obsessively without sleeping or eating, another plays in shifts with a brother or someone else, and a third one simply buys crafting bases and materials on Diablo trade. One of the top players has an open profile showing 267 hours played. Is that a lot or not? 20 days passed since the start of the season. 267 divided by 20 equals 13.35 hours per day. Sorry. Personally, I play neither too much nor too little, and I still reached 150 hours. That is around 7 hours a day, and physically I cannot handle more than that. Technically I could, but another 3 or 4 hours per day go into making videos. So combined, yeah, the math checks out. It is possible. Anyway, we were talking about amulets and sorcerer fixes. According to the developers, quote, Ball Lightning still will not display the core skill tag, but the core skill tag itself will function properly for Ball Lightning. If it works, then it should grant skill bonuses, correct? So what happens in reality? In reality, with +3 core skill bonuses on 2 items, and without them, the displayed level remains 40 either way. Not that I am surprised anymore. This season broke every imaginable and unimaginable record for bugs. The only thing that surprises me is that nobody has filed a class action lawsuit yet over selling a broken expansion. We, the players, paid money to become testers. But in the modern gaming industry, that is apparently normal now. Back to the patch notes. I simply do not believe a single word anymore. Test things myself? I do not even want to. Something that works can break an hour later or randomly start working properly again. What is even the point of testing when the game behaves however it wants instead of how it is described? My goal in Season 13 is reaching the top 100 ladder. So far I have not fully optimized the build. I didn't talk about the endless bugs and miracles yet. And because of that I still preserve some remaining mental balance. But I have a feeling that once I start diving into all the nuances and realities of 145 plus rifts, the game might defeat me. And honestly, I'm not ashamed of that because I value mental stability more than ladder positions. See how elegantly I prepared my safety cushion there. Did you like it? Write your opinion. And with that, today's done for top experience farming and top fixes. Write comments, press like, recommend the video to friends. Thanks for watching. Bye.